What's up, everybody? This is Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson. I am your nutritionist. I'm a guy who shares because I care, and today is no different. Today, we are going to talk about blood pressure, hypertension. We're also going to talk about things that you don't have to change in order to get those things to be in a better place. I'm also going to share with you this thing called disuse atrophy. Now, that can be a game changer for a lot of you. If you know anyone who's in a wheelchair, if you know anyone who's bedridden, if you know anyone who is in assisted living, if you know anyone who is not able to be as active as they once were, you want to share this video with that person. You do. You want to share it because what I'm going to share with you can make a big difference in the quality of that person's life. Now, you may not have interest, which is fine, but if you know anybody who values preserving and protecting their skeletal muscle, like, you know how you hear people saying, well, I lift weights to build muscle. I'm staying active to keep my muscle. I know that if I lose muscle, I can increase my risk of heart attack and stroke. I know that if I lose muscle, I start to age faster. I start to look older. If I lose muscle, I'm more prone to experiencing hip fractures and falling when I go take a shower or use the restroom. If I lose muscle and I end up getting diagnosed with any form of cancer, I'm less likely to survive because I lost muscle. Muscle is the fountain of youth. And in the last 7 to 10 years, there's been a ton of studies. And each time they do these studies, the outcome is always the same. Meaning, by making sure you consume one thing in your body, one thing, you reduce the risk of a lot of things that we're talking about, with a primary focus on keeping your all-important muscle. Now, if you don't understand the importance of skeletal muscle, then this is a good time for you to learn about the importance of skeletal muscle. Bodybuilders will tell you it's important, mostly because of what they want to look like when they're looking in the mirror or on the stage. But if you don't have an adequate amount of skeletal muscle, everything gets worse. Actually, when you lose skeletal muscle, we also know that you reduce how many calories you naturally burn. So you reduce your basal metabolic rate. You reduce how many calories you burn throughout the day. So muscle is important. Now, before we get to that, which is a big part of our conversation today, I'm going to bring on one of my dear friends, a client who I coach, who's also a nutritionist now, and she's coaching. And we're going to talk about something that she recently did. And that is, if you're on blood pressure medication for years, you tend to get to this point where you just accept that you're going to be on blood pressure medication for the rest of your life. And that's referenced by the doctors who also will tell you, most doctors, not all, that you will most likely be on blood pressure medication for the rest of your life. Well, I've watched a lot of people get off blood pressure medication in my practice, and Sandy has done that. But I want you to hear it from Sandy because she has done it and she's living it. So without further delay, let's bring in Sandy. Boom! What's up, Sandy?
Not much. How's it going, Robert?
This is great. Thank you. Now, before we get into blood pressure,
okay.
Be so kind. Introduce yourself to everybody. Let them know like what part of the world or corner of the world you are living, and like who is Sandy?
Well, Sandy is a mom, a grandma, a dog mom, health and wellness coach, thanks to you. I live in North Idaho and am loving life now. I'm a widow, and I've revamped everything about me into health and wellness over the years. So I take a new lease on life now.
Okay. Well, we like that. Now, before we get into the details of what you have done, as far as with blood pressure, how long have you been taking blood pressure medication?
I was taking blood pressure medicine since I was 26 years old.
And now you're about what,
I'm
40?
I will be 63 in another week.
So would that be 27 years?
I think more like 30 something years, 20,
Okay,
30,
well, let's
40,
do the math out there. We got
40 years maybe.
Susie, Jenny, they're checking in on us. So if you started taking blood pressure medication at what age?
26.
Okay, you guys, she was 26 and now she is
I'll be 63 in another week.
okay. So
Close enough.
if we subtract 26 from 63, that's how many years you've been on blood pressure medication.
Almost 40 years.
Okay. Now you've heard me mention this, and I had some people get really upset with me on social media when I asked a question, simple question. I said, I'm looking forward to someone having the answer to this, and that is, if you're on blood pressure medication, the goal is that it helps keep your blood pressure levels in balance. But if you're taking blood pressure medication, if you live long enough, what is likely to happen as a result of the medication impact on our kidneys and our liver? And not one person answered my question
Dialysis. Yeah.
because they didn't know. That's not something that the average doctor is going to talk about.
I did not know until I heard it from you.
Yeah. And if you live long enough, as I shared a story of two physician friends of mine. One is no longer here because he got on blood pressure medication in his 40s. By the time he hit the age of 80, he was on dialysis. And he and his son both told me that they know that the reason why his kidneys ran into the problems they ran into was because of the medication, the constant use for years.
Wow.
Now, the good news is our bodies are amazing and that you are no longer on blood pressure medication after all these years.
Yeah.
So there's hope for people. So what was your blood pressure this morning?
This morning it was 121/77.
Okay, everybody, you heard that. I mean, taking blood pressure medication for all those years, and this morning you wake up. And one more time, what was your blood pressure this morning?
121/77 this morning.
121/77. Now that gives hope to anyone interested in improving their overall health.
Absolutely. I mean, I never thought I would see this day, and I've learned so much from you over the years that when I heard when you were talking about the kidney disease, it's like, nope, I lost my stepmom to kidney disease, and that's not a option for me. That's not a place I want to go down. So
okay. Okay, and I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And for those, we may have one more person join us if she's able. Her name is Shirley, and I shared that with you earlier. Shirley is still taking blood pressure medication, but her blood pressure, like nothing was working, like nothing was helping her, like nothing. And I've been coaching this lady for over 2 years, almost 3 years. I'm coaching her on nutrition. I'm coaching her on exercise. I'm coaching her on we're doing whatever we can. I'm encouraging her to talk to her doctors. Let's change up the medication. And that's because she was having days where her blood pressure was like 228/110.
That's scary.
Yeah. And when she texts me that, I'll never forget. I didn't text her back and say, hey, you should go to the hospital. I just called her. And she picked up, and her husband were en route to the hospital, and she ended up having a mini stroke. Didn't change anything. I mean, it was totally mini. They saw it. And then she started taking balance oil.
Wow.
Now everything else was the same, because I coach her on nutrition, same as I've been coaching you. I mean, at your heaviest weight, you're down what, almost 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am.
Yes, so you've lost weight. You know what it's like to lose weight. We've lost more weight since we regained our relationship as far as me coaching you.
Yeah,
You're doing absolutely fabulous. And the only thing that's changed for you is the same thing that changed for her. You started taking the balance oil.
that's correct.
And from taking the balance oil, you went from being in what they call the danger zone in 4 months to now the safe zone,
Yes.
which is where
But
everybody wants to be.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, what do you say to your friends to help them? I mean, you gotta have shared that, hey, I'm taking this supplement. It's it's helped me in a lot of ways. I mean, I've heard everybody say everything from their nails are stronger, their hair is better, their acne is gone, the eczema is gone. And the only thing that all these people have in common is that they're taking this product that has a strong um, dual to it called omega-3, a quality omega-3 with polyphenols, which is like antioxidants, all
Uh-huh.
in one thing. And they're all telling me these amazing outcomes. And of course, I saw with my daughter with her menstrual cycle.
Right.
The pain is gone. The I watched people. 13 of my clients have dry eye. It's gone.
I'm one of
One of
those.
my and you have that too. And then one of my
I
clients, who's a retired nurse, over 70 years old, has had eczema for 40 plus years. It's gone. And the thing that they all are doing is taking the balance oil. So
pre- pretty
what do you say to people after learning what you've learned and how it's helped you? What is your message to people when it comes to the balance oil?
my message to people is it's if you want your health to be in line, I mean, Lord knows how long it's taken me to lose weight. I mean, I've always been a slow loser. Um, but the reduced inflammation in my body is insane. And I tell everybody that our food supply is so tainted with omega 6s. The only way to balance it out is by taking this premium omega 3. And I've tested, friends who have been taking another one, and it's like, let's test you. If yours is working so well, let's test you. We test them and they're 30 to 1, 20 to 1, 38 to 1. And it's like, switch over. And it's amazing to me how many people are out of balance. And I never heard of this prior to learning what I've learned. And I've learned so much in the last, you know, few months since taking this that it's like, wow. But I've noticed a huge difference in me. I've noticed a huge difference in my sleep, in my stress, obviously my blood pressure, inflammation in my skin. I'm real. I tell it as it is.
I
If you
mean,
want to improve your life, this is key.
it is key. Now I know I see that in the comments, Shirley, if you're there, I sent you a link that's different than the link that you went to. So if you're here, I sent you a different link where you can come on and become a guest on our show. So you have to go back, look at your emails, read everything I sent you, Shirley, and you'll see that I was very clear. This is the link how you come on the show. The other links are the ones that you share with other people. Okay. Thank you for letting me do that. All right. So while she may come on, I want to talk about this thing called, and we'll come back to the balance oil.
Okay.
But while I have you here, I want to share information with everyone about this thing called disuse atrophy. So disuse atrophy is when you are bedridden. Disuse atrophy is when you aren't using your muscle. So disuse is you're not using your muscle. And atrophy is when the muscle gets smaller, you lose it. So as you can see in this photo, The gentleman on, if you look to the right, his left arm, which looking to the right, is much smaller than his other arm. That's because the arm the smaller was in the cast and he wasn't able to use that arm. And when you don't use that muscle will get smaller. It atrophies. And that's not good, especially as you mature in life. So when we're talking about disuse atrophy, we're talking about something that's setting people up for earlier or premature death, something that's setting people up for increased risks of heart attack and stroke, something that is setting people up for beginning to age rapidly. Because as you lose muscle, you age faster, you look older, right? That's why sometimes when you see people who work out a lot, they're youthful, their muscles are youthful. Like, so the more you exercise and work out, the younger you're going to look, not just in body, but in face and energy and thinking, all of that. You follow me?
Yeah.
And so when someone, for instance, goes and they're going through cancer, and they're recovering, but they're not moving a lot, those people lose muscle. And when you lose muscle, you're more prone to a whole bunch of negatives. Now, I'm bringing this up, and I know you've heard me talk about many things, Sandy.
Yes.
But there are studies after study after study that are demonstrating that when you have an adequate amount of omega-3s in your body, you are less likely to lose muscle. So the omega-3 is actually helping people keep their muscle. So
Wow.
anyone who's interested in retaining muscle, omega-3s are like they're anabolic. So if I was wheelchair bound, God forbid, without question, 100%, I would be taking this. I would be drinking this oil like it's a soda that I want to drink, because it helps preserve your muscle. And look at all the baby boomers who are maturing in life. They're maturing in life and they're getting older and they're losing muscle. Some will work out and try to keep it, which is great. Some won't, because it was never part of their habits. But in reality, disuse atrophy is real. And so as you can see in the definition here, it says disuse atrophy is a type of muscle atrophy or muscle wasting, which is a decrease in the size of muscles in the body. Disuse atrophy can occur when a muscle is no longer as active as usual. Muscles that are no longer in use will slowly become weaker and eventually they begin to shrink, which leads to this thing called sarcopenia. So if you're lifting weights and you're staying active, that's going to be very helpful for you now and for the rest of your life. The more you could bank up and get in those workouts, the better, because you can get that muscle back. And if someone's listening and they don't really exercise, and I would say start exercising, even if you begin with walking, just be active. Whatever muscles you use, you're more likely to keep. But if you know you're not going to become a workout fiend, you know that you're never going to be that person, at least take the balance oil. You know what I mean? Like, take the balance oil, because it will help you. And so like in this study right here, I mean, we're seeing that people who took the oil in randomized placebo-controlled trials compared to people who didn't, and these are all people who were experiencing disuse atrophy, meaning they're bedridden, they can't move, they're wheelchair bound, there was a 50% difference in retention of skeletal muscle. So if you consumed the oil, you kept most of your muscle.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what else a person needs to know, but the data is clear. And it's not like one study, it's multiple studies. And that's with a quality omega-3, which is in the balanced oil. And then you have all the other benefits that come into mind when we talk about some of the other things. So the oil is not just for blood pressure.
No,
No,
it's lots of benefits that
it is
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me because everybody would benefit from it. And we know that it works because we have a test. It's like, so here's Brett's test, right? So you can see he's in the red.
Right.
And then after taking the oil, because you have these same results, I mean, you weren't
Yeah.
43.8 to 1, but you
No.
were in the red, and now you're in the green.
Yes, I am.
That's a win to
It,
me.
no,
And now look
I
at that.
now was
Game
that
over.
Brett's or was that mine?
That's Brett's.
That's Brett's. Okay, so we're the same now.
He went from that to that just by taking oil.
Crazy.
He went from
No,
that. So that's why this is not a sales thing. This
no,
is a
no.
being informed thing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's mind
Now
blowing.
the high question for you, the higher your numbers are, does it take you longer to become in balance?
It can, like Linda, for instance, was
Uh-huh.
69 to 1. And I believe right now she's 5 to 1.
Yeah.
So she's right there. She's in the yellow. She's right there. So with Linda, I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, she lost 120 pounds. I mean, we're talking about not just getting into your cell membranes, but getting it throughout your body and all your tissues. So as long as
Right.
she remains consistent in 2 months or maybe 3 months, when she tests again, she'll be completely in the green. I mean, she went
That
from, think about it. You just think points. She went from 69 to 1 to 5 to 1
right.
in 4 months.
Pretty
And
amazing.
that's it.
That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, even I've got arthritis in my fingers, and even my fingers are the arthritis. I wasn't able to hold a pen. I'm left-handed, and I wasn't able to hold a pen. And now I've
Wow.
got it's helped the arthritis even.
All right. Well, we got Shirley. I'm gonna bring Shirley on. I want you to meet
Okay.
Shirley. Is amazing. Shirley is how would I describe Shirley? Shirley is no nonsense. She keeps it
My type.
real all the time. She is a loving, caring, God-fearing woman who is all about sharing things because she wants to help people. And I mean,
Absolutely.
this woman, I'm telling you, she's like you, Sandy. She's gone out of her way to help me. I mean, seriously, she put me in situations for speaking engagements. Um, she refers people to me all the time. She wants to help people. She's just a good person. So let's
That's
bring
awesome.
on. I don't want her to get the big head. but you know, hey, a spade is a spade, and you're a nice person, Sandy, and sure, and so is my dear friend Shirley. What's up, Shirley?
Hello. How you
All right,
doing?
well, this is Sandy. Sandy, Shirley, you guys
Hi,
say hi to each
Shirley.
other.
Nice to meet you.
Me too.
Okay, so Shirley, I was sharing earlier before you came in. I shared a little bit about your story, and I know that you always surprise me with things you're doing. But to see you with your blood, when your blood pressure was like 200 and something over 110 or whatever that was, and now when you text me your blood pressure and it's normal, I mean, like Jack LaLanne told me many years ago, if you discover something that can help other people,
Yeah.
don't keep it a secret.
Right.
So, share with those people like what has been your experience and what is it like now waking up and finally like getting your blood pressure where it's under control.
It's exciting to me to wake up and take my blood pressure and I see it some mornings at 121 over 77. The most it's been is like 130 or 134. And that may be because I've eaten late or I ate the wrong thing. But most of all, eating correctly, the blood pressure has been stable. I went to my heart specialist on Tuesday, and he was amazed of how my blood pressure was so low. And I said, "Well, do I need to continue to take the second blood pressure?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "But for what? It's not over 130." So I said, "I'm not going to take a second one. I only need is the first one because I'm trying to get off of the blood pressure." But
Mm-hmm.
no, they always contribute your weight to your blood pressure. But the blood pressure has been low for the most part. And not only that, my blood sugar has been very low. It's 87. So
Nice.
it's not have not been over 100. So I'm excited. I can't wait to go and take my A1C test again. And it's working for me.
Oh, that is so awesome. I mean, congratulations. Now, someone like you, Sandy, right? Meeting someone like Shirley for the first time and vice versa. And I don't know if you heard of Shirley, but no one ever gave me the numbers. Did anybody give me the numbers? Okay, let me see.
Which numbers?
Which why I asked everybody to figure out, like, because I mean, I can chew gum and talk at the same time. Let's just keep it real. But I had asked Sandy got on blood pressure medication when she was 26, right, Sandy?
Yes.
Okay. And then she just got off of it completely, Shirley. And she's now how old?
I'll be 63.
Okay. So
In a week.
63. So how many years is that? So subtract 26 from 63. Okay. I believe it's, you know what? I'm not even going to attempt it. I'm hoping someone can, like, you have a lifeline. I mean, we got Susie on here, Roxanne. How you doing?
37 years. 37
Okay.
years.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody, we need someone. How did you do that? How did you do that?
Fingers.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie Smart also, she joined in. She said, wow, I think that's a record. 37 years taking blood pressure medication.
And
When
then
they tell you, right, Shirley, that you're going to be on this for the rest of your life, Sandy is no longer taking blood pressure medication.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. And
Yeah.
and with Shirley because I was with Shirley when she was going through it. And Shirley was like talking to her doctors saying, hey, look, this medication's not working. And they had to, I mean, how many times would you say they changed your medication, Shirley? Like
3 or 4 times.
geez. I mean, I know that's common, but that must be so frustrating. You know what I mean? Like you go in and it's like not under control. Then they say, well, let's try this. And it gets to that point, right? Where it's like, well, let's try this one.
It's where you feel like a guinea pig,
Yeah. Like, what was that? I mean, Shirley, so for you, have you seen other people experiencing the same things that you experienced?
Oh yeah, I know some people that's on 3 and 4 blood pressure medicine, but that's crazy to me to be on that many blood pressure medicine because I don't feel like the blood pressure medicine really give you any results. That's just me personally.
I used to be on 3 of them years ago, Robert.
Wow.
I was on 3 different ones as well. And, I weaned off of one, when I lost the beginning amount of weight and weaned off the second. And now I'm off the third.
Well, you know what? The goal is we got to get the word out, right? We want to help people. Now, what's interesting, like, so with the clients I've worked with over the years, the highest hemoglobin A1C that I've had with the client was 16.9.
Jeez.
That person now is like 5.3.
Wow.
They're off all medications. And I've had a whole bunch of people, hemoglobin A1C 15, 14, etc. And that's based on how we look at it in the States. Because when you get out of the States, they look at it with different mathematical breakdowns, if you will. But you can do the comparison. So that's pretty high. Now, right now, Shirley does not have high blood sugar. So there's a lot of people, Shirley, that have high blood pressure. And most of those people actually end up having high blood sugar.
What do you consider as high blood besides the 16.9 you talked about?
Well, so that's the hemoglobin A1C. So if you looked at fasting blood sugar, then anything under 100 is where you want to be, which is where you are. So you don't have that concern right now. But a lot of people that or will know, or when you look into it, you'll see this. If they have high blood pressure It's just a matter of time before they have high blood sugar,
Okay.
and vice versa. My mom never ever had high blood sugar. Never. Which is unbelievable to me. It's mind blowing to me. I mean, so lucky, and maybe that's a part of that is genetics. Um, but she's had other challenges, right? Heart disease, etc. And so my mom, I have her using the oil, and we have gotten extremely favorable outcomes.
It's awesome.
So in my own personal life, guys, I'm seeing outcomes, for what it's worth, because some people don't give 2 cents about the 29 years of me being in this space. But in the space that I've been in, I've never seen any kind of supplement ever that does what I'm seeing this do consistently. Ever.
It's insane. It's the more I learn, the more it's like, where's this been my whole life?
Yeah, well, one, we didn't have the test, right? So people couldn't
Right.
do a test, but now you can do the test, and both of you guys did the test. So Shirley, in your experience, was the test difficult for you to do?
No, it was very easy.
Okay, because a lot of people, and what about you, Sandy? Well, do you consider
Oh,
it?
no, it was very easy. It's, I think I've had a couple people who don't want to take the test because they don't want to poke themselves. And it's like,
They
it's a little
assume it's going to
poke.
be way worse than what it is.
Exactly. It's so simple. And I kind of laugh at them. And what one of my friends, I made her sit down at the table. It's like, give me your finger. And we just went ahead and did it.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to just, and then once they do it, like I just had a client, Sandra, who she was like, okay, Robert, I'm going to do it. And I've been talking to her for like 2, 3, 4 months. And she finally was like, you know what? This makes sense. So I'm going to do this. And so she ordered the test and her oil. And she texted me this morning and said, I did the test. My sister helped me. Wasn't even that difficult. And then she said, can I just put the oil in a teaspoon, just drink it out of a spoon? I was like, you don't want to add it to water? And she goes, no, there's no real taste. Like, I was like, okay. And that was one of the concerns she had, was she thought it was going to taste like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So in your experience, I mean, both of you, does it taste horrible?
No, and one thing, I mean, I've taken fish oils in the past, and all you're doing is burping up fish and yuck all day long, and it starts getting where you don't even want to take it because all you have is this horrible taste in your mouth, and there's none of that with this. It's amazing how the polyphenols keep any of that from happening.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with taking it. I just do what I know. Take whatever I have to take because I know what's best for me. It's not everything that's good for you. It's not gonna always taste good. I don't even think about it.
Right.
Well, so I should probably show people what this looks like. Let me be the one. Okay, let's see if you guys are still there. Okay. So here's what the test looks like. It's a very simple test. You get the test, you open it, you prick your finger. There's a little couple spots you put the blood on. You let it dry for 10 minutes. You close it up, and then there's a self-addressed envelope in there. You just put it in the mail, and in 10 to 20 business days, you get your results. That's
Simple. Simple.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Now, how do you take the oil every day, Shirley? Do you just take it straight? Do you add it to water? How do you do it?
I take it straight. And actually, for me, I know what works for my body. I don't take a teaspoon. I take 3 tablespoons because I know.
What?
Yes. Because that works for me. I always have to do a little. I have a hard system. So I figured that works for me.
Wait a minute. Now, did you say teaspoons or are we saying tablespoons?
I say tablespoon.
Okay.
So is the bottle lasting you a week, Shirley?
Actually, it lasts me a whole month, but I don't care. I just do what I need to do for me.
Okay. So sure, hey, Shirley's like, hey, the more the better.
There you go. There
Not,
you go.
it's not like it's a side effect.
No, that's true. It's funny. I was looking at disuse atrophy, what I was showing videos of people who are consuming more. I mean, 4,000 milligrams. So they're definitely doing a tablespoon a day, is where some of these studies demonstrate where you get the bigger benefits. So it's nice to know that you can consume more. Obviously, you're going to pay a little bit more because you need more to make it through a month. But the
Right.
average person can do one bottle, which I have right here. And I'm going to do a shot while we're talking to show people how simple this is. I mean, yeah, I don't know. So I was also wondering, like, while I have both of you guys here, I would love to get your thoughts and recommendations on how do I, when you know something is this helpful to people, can you guys give me some suggestions or tips on how to introduce it to people? Because that's the hardest part is you're excited about something, you know it can be helpful for these people, but you don't want to come across too salesy because then they just think you're trying to sell them, like a lot of people do when it comes to supplements.
I run across the same thing. So I understand what you're saying. And a lot of people didn't want to do it until I got my second results back. And it's like, why are you putting it off when you can, I mean, I don't know. It's hard. That's a hard one, Robert. I was going to ask you the same thing.
Well, I mean, I'm working on it. I mean,
I
I'm putting
think
together.
I would say keep sharing and keep posting, and also
That's,
have those
yeah.
that are to just share it also.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
the
I
good
think
part.
I think a big part too is, people who say, well, I'm already taking an omega-3 and being able to talk them into taking a test. It's like, I mean, I've given a couple people tests who said that they were already on one and, they're 20-1 or 30-1 still. So I think that that's been huge also, but it takes time. It does take time to get people to understand and go with it. It's just, there's so many things out there that are, as aren't good to have somebody believe. So I just keep sharing, and a couple people, it's 3-4 months down the road where they finally say, okay, let me do it. But I just keep sharing what I know to be true.
Okay, well, I like that. Now we have had some questions come in, so I'm just gonna from the hip. Let's see if you guys want to answer these. Cindy Douglas says, Robert Ferguson, thanks. I was going to ask you if I can regain muscle when doing resistance exercise. So you guys want to take, like, how would you answer that question, Sandy? Can she regain muscle?
I think you can build your muscle back up after, as long as you're diligent with taking oil and working out.
Okay. What do you think, Shirley? Can you regain that muscle?
I say you can regain it by more lifting and more protein.
Okay, so nutrition is going to play a role,
Right.
but the answer we all agree is yes, Cindy, you can regain skeletal muscle. Now, the more you worked out before you had your situation where you lost muscle, then the easier you can get most of it back. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Exactly.
Now, Cindy said, I slept for 7 hours last night. I don't even know how long it's been since I've done it. Now, I'm not sure. Well, I know it's funny because I was looking at some of the studies on this oil, right? And it definitely helps a person with sleep.
Absolutely.
Have you guys had that experience?
Yes, my sleep's definitely been better.
I can say my sleep has been better and I get more hours of sleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I need to be talking about that more because there's a lot of people that I have one client who is on the oil. She does not take it regularly. Her numbers were 42-1, completely out of balance. But the reason why she doesn't take it regularly is because she's probably 5'3", maybe 115 pounds, works out and looks really good on the outside. Looks amazing. In her life, she complains about not sleeping well, and she's not even taking oil regularly. And the other day she texts me and says, "Oh, I should start taking this oil regularly." And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, look at my labs." And she shared with me her labs, and she was like dealing with she was anemic.
Oof.
And then when I looked at omega-3, it was very clear. Many studies said that when you have an adequate amount of omega-3, you're less likely to be anemic.
Oh.
So the thing that she is dealing with her labs could be helped by taking the oil. Her lack of sleep would be helped by taking the oil, but she's
Yeah.
not taking the oil. So how
But
do you help somebody like that, Sandy and Shirley?
I just say, you got to take it for it to work. If you don't take it, it's not going to work. So,
Lord help these people.
the thing I do in the morning, I drink my lemon water with the xenobiotic, and I do my oil right after.
Yeah. Well, I start my day, and my daughter, who doesn't have menstrual cramps anymore, you cannot get her to not take her oil.
Yeah. My granddaughter, same one.
The pain was so real, the discomfort was so real that there's no way my daughter will go a day without taking the oil.
My granddaughter, I got her on the oil, and same thing with her. So Grandy, I haven't missed a day yet.
Nice.
So, and she's doing a lot better with her menstrual cramps as well.
So let's see. We have a question that came in from Cindy. She wanted to know, because Shirley made a comment about protein also. How much protein? If you're making fat burning meals, Cindy, which I know you know how to make a fat burning meal, then you automatically are getting an adequate amount of protein. If you want to know the macros, make it a goal to get about 30 grams of protein, especially when you want to build lean skeletal muscle. And it's really easy to get 30 grams of protein. So for instance, if you had 5 ounces of chicken breasts, that's about 40 grams of protein. Just the chicken. Not counting the cup of broccoli that has 5 grams of protein. Not counting everything else you're eating that comes with protein. So someone who has chicken breasts and a little bit of collard greens with, blah, 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 they're probably getting about 50, 60 grams of protein. So it's not hard to get protein. That's where everybody got to just quit that. The marketing is all designed to just get people thinking they need protein. Cereal, if you look at it, it'll say 10% more protein. Everything is about more protein, and everybody thinks I need more protein, and they're already getting enough protein. Okay. Anyway, let's see here. Cindy says, I do have people who are interested in the test. Awesome. So give me a call, Cynthia. Let's get people. If people get tested, all right, let me ask you guys. I know what I've seen with people when their test results come back. And I'll say up front, I've had people only get the test. And when they got the test, the first thing they did was call me and say, I want to order the oil. When you saw your first test, Sandy, was it a positive, negative, scary?
My first test was 13-1. So I was not nearly as bad as some, but I was still in the red. But I'm very diligent about what I eat. I was kind of shocked that I was even that high, because I stay away from seed oils, and I know the seed oils are what's inflammatory and causes a lot of the omega-6s. But as soon as I heard about it, I couldn't wait to start taking the oil.
Okay. And I'm glad you, so if a person decides, you know what, I'm just going to avoid all seed oils. Even if you avoid every seed oil and you never have even a touch of a seed oil, right? We're talking safflower oil, you guys,
Right.
sunflower oil, soybean oil, canola oil, rice bran. All of these oils are part of the omega-6 family that causes inflammation.
Okay.
Even if you completely avoid them, you would have still been in the danger zone, Sandy.
And I was.
Yeah. So avoiding is nice and is good, but the problem that we have is that we're not getting enough omega-3.
Exactly.
That's why we supplement.
And
So,
that's what I learned from you. So yeah, it's
okay.
I don't eat fish daily, and I think unless you eat fish daily, you're probably going to be deficient in omega-3. Would that be a correct statement?
Well, 99% of anyone that lives in America and Canada, 99% of all the people you guys know are deficient when it comes to omega-3. Or let's say insufficient. And all they got to do is the test. So then you guys would be thinking, well, why is it that doctors aren't doing this test? Because they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they're not, the short answer is that there's no money. If you follow the money, you can see why people will recommend a hemoglobin A1C test. They want to recommend a fasting glucose test. They want to recommend like all of these tests because it keeps you coming back to the doctor,
Right.
and they get paid per doctor visit. And then sometimes there's other opportunities, like if they when they're pushing Ozempic and Wegovy and some of these drugs for weight loss, there's incentives in place where people are actually making more money. So if you follow the money, it's very clear why certain things are recommended and some things are just avoided. But I believe that not knowing your omega-3 index, your percentage, not having a test is a total 100% injustice in the medical industry.
I agree. I would agree with that, with learning everything I've learned.
Yeah, I mean, it's the facts.
Yeah, it's
if
how
my
I feel
okay,
about
look, guys, if my daughter, so I'm biased, is my daughter, I don't want to see my kid in pain. I don't want to see my kid dealing with acne if there's a way to not deal with it. I know how cruel and mean kids can be.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that all we changed was my daughter taking this every day, and there's no more menstrual cramps, and there's no more acne. That was it. And then
That's all you needed to know.
Well, I mean, it's your kid, unless you just don't
Absolutely.
give. There's some parents that don't give a shit about their kids.
Very true.
They couldn't care less. I'm actually a loving, caring, all-in daddy. And if my kids are in pain, I don't care what it is, I'm bothered.
Absolutely.
So the fact that I can give relief to my daughter because I discovered something, why would I keep that a secret?
That's worth its weight in gold right there.
I mean, to me, that's why, Shirley's been telling people about the Balance Oil because it's working for her and she loves the people she's sharing it with.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Absolutely.
So our big challenge is getting people to hear us and then give it a shot. Yeah, it's mind blowing to me. Okay, let me see. Let's see what we got here. Cindy says, I have been anemic, very low iron, which we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
I am noticing finally more energy and less shortness of breath. It's been a long, slow road. And she says, and much credit of it to the oil. Wow. Good job, Cindy. I am proud of her.
Robert, I'm also off my asthma medication since I've been on the oil.
Wow.
My asthma is 1,000,000 times better.
You know anybody with on asthma medication, Shirley?
Yeah, I do have a couple of people that's on asthma medication that I know.
Yeah, but definitely, I'm not nearly as restricted as I used to be.
Well, Lisa's gonna
Inflammation,
do.
right?
Yes. So that was a good post by Lisa. Oh yeah, and then Lisa just brought up something. She goes, "I've also been on Ozempic and muscle loss is severe." Wow, I can't even believe this. I haven't even thought about talking about how this balance oil will help all the people on Ozempic. I'm just now like going, light bulb. Because the biggest challenge or my biggest concern that's clear, and a lot of people are in full agreement with me, is that when you go on these weight loss drugs, the majority or bulk of the weight you lose is skeletal muscle. So every person taking Ozempic, Wegovy, all of these weight loss drugs, every doctor should be putting them on balance oil for the sole reason that it helps protect and preserve skeletal muscle.
Crazy.
Man, I feel like I should just hang up on you guys, because I got to get out there and tell
Start
people
making
about
phone calls, huh?
it. Yeah, because I mean, it just now came to me.
Wow.
So for those who want to see what it looks like, so I'm taking water. Okay, so let me make my screen a little bigger. Okay, so here's my little shot glass. I'm going to fill it halfway with water. So you can see that. Now I'm going to take my oil. Now what I've done, because I've measured out, I do 2.5 teaspoons a day. I know that inside of this cap, there's these little ridges in the cap that work out to be 2.5 teaspoons. So once I measured it once with the teaspoon, with a real teaspoon, I know exactly where to pour it in the cap. So then I pour into the cap. You guys can see. I got my oil spilling on the table a little bit. So then I got my
Don't let
water.
that go to waste.
I got my water. So now I'm gonna pour it in. It's a little more than a teaspoon, actually. And that's it. So the oil always goes to the top. And the water is right under it.
With oil going to the top, isn't that something to do with the polyphenols and encapsulating it, or
That's
no?
just fat. Fat rise, like
That
cream
just,
rises
okay,
to the top.
that's true.
But you
So
don't have to drink it in water. You can drink it straight if you want to, right?
you can, but what happens is when you introduce this to someone and you don't give them options, if you only say to drink it straight, they may not like that.
Oh.
So now they don't want to use the oil anymore because of their experience. So I give people many options. I'll say you can go straight. I like to do it like this. Some people like to mix it in their food. Some people do it on an empty stomach. Some people feel better if they do it as part of their meal, like maybe lunch or dinner. Some people will add a little orange juice. Again, it's up to everybody's different. So my recommendation when you share with people, give them options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we call it a 1 second shot. So when I wake up in the morning, I have 3 shot glasses. I do this for me and my 2 daughters. And then I pour it, give it to them, they drink it, and we're done. And whatever, when you do a shot like this, the water or the orange juice that's under it becomes the chaser. So then you don't taste the oil.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers. Done. I didn't die. I didn't blow up. There's no like, there's none of that. So 1 second, and you could, like one of my clients no longer have eczema. 1 second, and there's no longer menstrual cramps. 1 second, and your blood pressure is better. 1 second, and you can preserve skeletal muscle and improve the quality of your overall health and life. I mean, come on.
Insane.
What else is there, Shirley? What else, Shirley? What do I need to do to reach more people and help them realize that we have something that can help them?
Well, not just you, everyone that's on the product should be able to reach somebody. Is everybody has a deficiency almost. So everybody should be able to reach somebody and bring somebody
Amen.
to the table. Just reach back and get somebody else and say, hey, got something that, you can try. $40, not much. Invest in yourself and in your health.
Exactly.
Amen.
I've got one of my clients, Robert. She was telling me that she was having horrible hair loss. It was like coming out in clumps, and she doesn't have hair loss anymore.
Mm.
So
I'm here. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing so many things.
I love hearing the success stories, and
Yeah.
that's what keeps me going, because it amazes me.
Well, Shirley, this is what we decided. I talked to Sandy earlier. Like your thoughts on this. We have about 5 minutes left, you guys. And we will say goodbye for now. But what we're going to do, Shirley, is tonight I'm doing a training and you're invited.
Okay.
But the training, we're going to talk about how I want one day a week, every week, the same time, the same day. I want to make available a 20 to 30-minute presentation where we introduce people to the balance oil every week.
Okay.
Share a little testimonial here and there, answer some general questions, and then give people a chance to click on a link. And then, of course, they can have full access. They can buy it. So every week we're going to do that. So then your clients, your friends, anyone who's using the product or the test can always tell people, hey, here's a link. Go to this link every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. You can listen and learn. And it's the same presentation every week. And that's what I wanted. So then if you guys recommend it to people, right? Because, there could be a benefit for you, or, if a customer likes the product and they're sharing with other people, after so many people buy the product through them, they get their product for free. And all they got to do is just start sharing it with people. Share their story. If you want to learn more, here's a link. What do you think of that, Shirley?
I think that sounds great.
Yeah, because then all we need is a link. And then I have it set up to where we can track it, where you can get credit for people that you recommended it to, Shirley. Same as Sandy. And that's one thing I believe we can do to start educating people on the importance of omega-3, the importance of polyphenols, the importance of being in balance, and something that's available to everybody. So before we say goodbye to everyone, I want to say thanks to everyone who was able to listen in on our fun conversation. We talked about disuse atrophy. We now have talked about how each one of us is enjoying the balance oil. Any last words from you, Sandy?
Just, if you're not taking it yet, reach out, because it's amazing. Stop messing around. This stuff has got more benefits than anything I've ever taken before.
Yep. I'm in full agreement. Shirley, any last words, especially for family who may catch you doing this interview?
No, only thing I can say is give it a try, and I don't see why you wouldn't give it a try, because once you take the test and you take it 4 months later, it's gonna show you the results. It can't lie to you.
Yeah.
So I just say to invest in your health.
Well, I couldn't say it better than that. That was very well said. So thank you both for
Thank you.
taking time. And see, this wasn't so hard. We should be doing this more regularly.
Yes, I'm game anytime.
Yes.
See, Shirley, we should do this for your family and just do like a gathering and invite everybody, and then we can just have a conversation with them.
Yes. We
Okay.
can do that.
All right. Well,
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Enjoy your weekend, and
You too.
I'll send you a link later for the replay of this. And I want to say thank you both for making time to have this conversation.
All
Thank
right.
you, Robert.
All right, you guys. Thank you. And if
All
anybody
right.
has any questions, you can reach out directly to Sandy. You can reach out directly to Shirley. You can reach out directly to me. We can get you more information, put you in touch with the right link so that you can get the product and the test, and you will then be as excited as we are. So until the next one.
All right. Thank you.
Are we good?
Thanks, right. We're good.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good evening.